Hello class, here is section 1.3. Pretty much what this is talking about is opposites and absolute values. So if it's saying to find the opposite of a number, what that means to do is just change the sign. So the opposite of 15 is a negative 15. The opposite of negative 3 is now going to be positive 3. You're also going to have some that have multiple opposite or negative signs. So negative of a negative 7. For here, what we're doing is just multiplying through. So negative times negative is positive. So this is going to equal 7. If, however, we have negative of negative 7, we see here that we have negative times negative, which is positive, times negative, which is negative. So the answer here would be negative 7. An easier way to do this is just count how many negative signs there are. Here we have 1, 2, and the answer is a positive. Here we have 1, 2, 3 negative signs. The answer is a negative. If you have an even number of negative signs, your answer is going to be positive. If you have an odd number of negative signs, your answer is going to be a negative. Okay, so the next concept is absolute value. And what that means is basically it's the distance from 0 to that number on a number line. So the absolute value of just x is going to be x. Absolute value of negative x is also x, but then the negative absolute value of x equals negative x, and the negative absolute value of negative x is also negative x. What it means here, anything that's inside the absolute value bars is going to turn positive. So a positive becomes positive. It's no longer now the opposite. A negative also becomes a positive. But here we have the negative on the outside. So it's a negative of the absolute value of x. So it's going to be negative x. Here we have the negative absolute value of negative x. Absolute value of negative x is x, but the negative of that is negative x. Then you're going to get some ones with numbers that you're going to calculate. So let's say that we have absolute value of negative 3 minus 4. So we're going to do what's inside the absolute value. Negative 3 minus 4 is negative 7. Absolute value of negative 7 is 7. But let's say that we have absolute value of negative 3, and then close that, and then minus absolute value of 4. So here, the only thing difference is that it's a negative 3 absolute value, and then minus the absolute value of 4. This one, the two numbers were both inside. So the absolute value of negative 3 is 3, and then we have a minus. Absolute value of 4 is 4. So this is going to equal 3 minus 4, which is negative 1. Then you're going to have some that have, those ones with the absolute value. Then you'll have some with the parentheses. Parentheses are not the same as absolute value. Parentheses means that you're multiplying. So let's say we have 2 minus negative 7. Oops. Okay, so 2 minus a negative 7. What this becomes is, like we did before, negative times negative is positive. So this becomes 2 plus 7, which equals 9. But let's say that we have negative 2 minus negative 7. So now it becomes negative 2 plus 7, and negative 2 plus 7 equals 5. Or you might have negative 2 minus 7, And negative 2 minus 7 is negative 9. Remember, when you see a negative parenthesis negative, that means you're going to change the sign. Alright, so that's it for section 1.3.